do you love Willowbunch? Willowbunch.
Are you living up to your potential?
I can hardly get my laundry done.
Forest cock mama, forest cock papa.
This is like a very ancient version of Twister.
Willowbunch sounds like something you'd buy for $15 at Home Sense.
When you grow up in a small town in Newfoundland, you see the people have a sense of humor about hard times.
Check.
I turned that into a career and hit the road.
Mr. Jonny Harris!
Now I'm on a mission to find the funny in the places you'd least expect it. Canada's struggling small towns. Towns that are against the ropes, but hanging in there. Still laughing in the face of adversity. Welcome to Willowbunch, Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. It sure delivers on stunning prairie cliches, but if you stray south down along the U.S. border, you'll find a little town with an unassuming name, Willow Bunch. But trust me, this tiny town has a giant story.
I've had a bit of a hard time getting here. As soon as I left the Trans-Canada and I was coming down, I started to lose my way, and I was asking people how to get here, and they're telling me things like it's between Climax and Big Beaver, and I was always told that Saskatchewan was flat and boring. Not so. There's this beautiful valley with lush meadows and trees, and you're not trying to keep that a secret, are you?
Unfortunately, one thing that wasn't a secret, businesses closed down or up for sale. Doris O'Reilly at the museum told me all about it.
There are some places for sale, like the gas station, the variety store. Because of the decline in population, I think it's hard to keep a business going.
So what led to the decline?
Because there was nothing for the young people. If they didn't want to farm, and not everybody wants to be a farmer, they moved away. We've become a retirement community, struggling a little, but for the most part, they're happy to be here.
But this quiet little town holds some of the best-kept secrets of the Old West. Doris told me that Sitting Bull, chief of the Sioux, the man who brought down General Custer, sat right here, no bull.
Why did Sitting Bull come up here?
To get away from the American authorities.
After the Battle of Little Bighorn,
General Custer's last stand, right?
Right.
Chief Sitting Bull came here to seek asylum.
He came to Willow Bunch to meet with its founder, Jean-Louis Lagarry.
And Lagarry took him in. He welcomed him. That's a pretty noble thing of him to do, I think.
And he looked after them and fed them and helped them out.
Could you imagine when he first found out, one of Sitting Bull's scouts comes up and is telling him that he's on the way? He's like, oh, Chief Sitting Bull is coming here. Well, that's great. Is there anybody with him? 400, eh? Okay. I think that's doable, sure. Can you tell me why he's leaving the States? Oh, my. Oh, my. So, General Custer, is he... Oh, my. Oh, my. Do you have any idea how long they're going to want to stay here?
And Jean-Louis Lagarry, he was a strong man. And if he said he was going to help someone, he did.
Doris then told me that he billed the Canadian government
Furnishing provisions for 492 Indians.
$48,000 for expenses incurred and losses sustained.
The government of Canada gave him back $2,000 on the $48,000.
What a rip.
No.
In the end, the Canadian government sent him a fraction of what he thought he deserved, and that, folks, was the birth of Revenue Canada. He was a great man. He just needed a great accountant.
I found a town in transition. Willow Bunch managing retirees is a bit like Lagarry struggling with Sitting Bull's clan. Where to put them? How long will they stay? Will they make a mess? You know?
The big draw for people to Willow Bunch now is the Willow Bunch golf course. And I can see why. It is absolutely stunning.
We call it a hidden paradise down here in southern Saskatchewan.
I went to meet with Charlene Egger.
Hi, guys.
Hello. She introduced me to several people who are there. They bring their RVs down.
So you guys have been coming here for 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see you're really roughing it here. I can't imagine.
I don't know if you can call it camping if you got a 60-foot RV and satellite TV, but the only way your sleeping gear is going to get wet is if the waterbed breaks. Jay is the young fella who runs the golf course now. Jim is the old fella who used to run the golf course.
But he has no respect for his elders.
No.
Nope. He won't go in the bush and look for my golf balls or anything like that.
I always wondered that must be a little bit weird for Jason, right? Taking over the job from someone who still shows up every day to make sure you're doing a good job.
I come up just about every morning, 4:30, just to look at the view.
And somewhere down in the town, Jason's down there with one eye open going, he's watching me already, I can feel it.
How's he doing with it?
Oh, if it would have been anybody else, I'd have probably shot him.
Oh, yeah?
Over here is where Sitting Bull camped out.
Do you think he'd be any good at golf?
Hole 7, that's where Jean-Louis Lagarry and Chief Sitting Bull had encamped. And some people say on a quiet night, you can hear their spirits discussing whether they should use a pitching wedge or a 9-iron.
If anything, Char, I'm afraid I'm blowing the secret for the locals of Willowbunch.
It is our own little paradise, but we're willing to share.
Some Canadian secrets need to stay secret. Like the fact that there's clam juice in a Caesar. That never should have got out.
A bigger secret than Saskatchewan having hills? There's gold in them hills. Black gold.
More than 1 trillion barrels of oil, bigger than Saudi Arabia. This place is a gold mine.
Willow Bunch sounds like something you buy for 15 bucks at Home Sense, right? Your wife would send you out, honey, we need some shams, a couple of flounces, and a Willow Bunch for the bedroom.
Sometimes you gotta learn the local legends, know the larger-than-life characters, to really be able to size a place up. Way up.
In all our ball teams, we were the Giants, or the Giant was always part of Willowbunch.
Like I saw the pub, it was called the Jolly Giant.
Yeah. Well, we call them our Willowbunch Giants.
Yeah.
Edward Beaupre was 8'3" at the age of 22. I mean, this guy, we all know Andre the Giant, right? Edward was a foot taller than him.
Oh, my.
Size 22 shoe in the end. Give him a high five.
It's a good thing he's wearing a top hat because it helps you look tall.
Nicole not only curates the exhibit there, but she is his great niece. So she is protecting his family memory with a passion that only family can allow.
And this is him with...
He's sitting, and even when he's sitting, he's taller than his dad.
It would be hard to punish your child if that was the case, wouldn't it? Edward, go to your room. No. Okay, carry me up to mine.
Came from a family of 20.
A family of 20?
There wasn't a lot of money, and he felt a responsibility.
And being the eldest, we wanted to help out his parents. He got into the circus.
He ended up working for Barnum and Bailey. There's not a lot of criteria in hiring the tallest man, right? You don't need to nail the interview or anything, right? It would just be like, hey, Edward, stand next to that guy. Okay, Edward, you're hired. That guy, you're fired.
Unfortunately, he died at the early age of 23, but they said he was still growing at the time.
Wow.
He died at the World's Fair in St. Louis. There wasn't enough money to bring him back home for a burial.
His body was abandoned at the morgue.
His body disappeared, and some kids found it in an abandoned warehouse. Eventually, it ended up on display at the University of Montreal. It's like he went on tour after he died, which makes me think of Keith Richards.
That was my father's dream, that he'd get him back, and he did.
Yeah. For all that sadness, there's a bit of a happy ending there. And he's back in Willowbunch.
Home and at peace.
They had a proper burial here, and now Nicole works diligently so that we can all remember him the way we should remember him, with dignity, as a literally great man.
Even the newcomers to this town are a colorful bunch.
I went to visit Alan Harmony. Alan specializes in interpreting dreams. This kind of thing that I don't usually buy into.
Why Willowbunch?
I was brought here as a result of a series of dreams. I'm looking around at the landscape and going, holy Toledo, I was shown this in a dream.
Alan's written books describing how dreams can predict the future.
Well, there's no one else that does what I do. Let's put it that way.
Right.
His powers seem to have steered him right with real estate. When the town school fell victim to population decline, Alan picked up the building for a song.
The town could have bought it for $1.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
But Alan told me that a lot of great men throughout history have used their dreams, things they've seen in their dreams, to achieve greatness.
Like Einstein and Edison and Bell and Tesla and people like that.
And now I understand that if I'm ever going to be a truly great man, I need to do more napping.
You have to learn to take a look at the plays on words within the words.
He explained it to me now. He's got plans to... Well, he's got plans. He's got plans.
I saw a cup, and it was placed on a book. Well, what's the analogy there?
I think I know. Cup, C-U-P, it means you saw somebody urinate.
You're close.
Oh, yeah?
See up. Look up. Look up in a book. Oh, I get it. Bingo.
He told me that what he's trying to accomplish is beyond the grasp of most people, and I most humbly concede I am most people.
With Chief Sitting Bull and Legary, I learned this place has an incredible story. But enough with the history books. Willow Bunch's deep past is written in stone.
I went to visit the petroglyphs.
History is important. If you want to know where you're going, you need to know where you've been.
Wes Bloom was showing me the petroglyphs. Basically, it's ancient First Nations carvings in the rocks.
This, Johnny, is a warrior head.
It's fairly menacing looking.
There's human hands, warriors, bison hooves.
328 carvings right here. And then we go to an area that is quite controversial. So if you can imagine, left hand, right hand, and here we have a male genitalia.
This is like a very ancient version of Twister.
Yep.
I'll just put I'm not going to put my genitalia where it's...
I'm glad to hear that.
So there's the symbol for a Great Plains grizzly being held onto by human hands, and then a human phallus pointed at the grizzly.
And mating with this plains grizzly.
That's a bold move.
It was so that the shaman could gain the power of the plains grizzly.
Don't try to get the power of the grizzly. You already have a lot of power, and it's clearly gone to your head. And now I also understand why I don't see a whole lot of grizzlies in here.
Sure, the grizzlies may have stayed away, and I never saw a Sasquatch, but the area is seeing the return of the Fransaskois.
Oh, Father Joe wants us all to pray for his cocker spaniel who is sick. For his cock mama, for his cock papa, for his cocker spaniel who is sick.
Not all newcomers to Willow Bunch are from away. Some people are actually returning home, like the Campagne family. They had a very popular group, Heart Rouge. Great band.
Before the turn of the century, this whole region was called La Ha Rouge. I mean, this is an old French town. It's one of the oldest towns in Saskatchewan.
Turned out there were tens of thousands of Fransaskois, the name for Francophone Saskatchewaners.
Basically, our dad, who was a farmer all his life but loved to sing, he thought, well, I'm going to teach them French songs, and that'll sort of help, you know, perpetuate the language and the culture.
It did, until the French community died out when people moved on to bigger places. But a few years ago, the Campagne family came back.
At 50 years old, I decided I'd come back.
Yeah.
And the land here attracted all of us back.
Solange was the first one to come back, and she started organically growing kamut and flax and all kinds of other things that children push to the side of their plate. And
you want to learn something in French?
My French is very poor, but I'd be willing to try.
Monsieur le curé aime bien la rivière. Au bordel, il passe bien son temps.
My French is rusty, but music is universal, and the sentiment of this love song almost brought me to tears. Now they have a huge annual Fransaskois music festival that draws thousands of people to celebrate their culture where it all started, Willow Bunch.
It's extreme here. It's always been a dynamically opposed, like the French, the English, the cold, the hot. And the Métis brought in a whole other culture, too.
so really, they're able to accomplish in a 3-minute song what the Canadian government has had a hard time doing in 300 years.
I wondered, how does a town with such varied roots somehow keep it all together?
Is it a town of different opinions, Willow Bunch?
Yes.
How so?
Every small town is. You know, you'll have 4 different opinions on anything.
Yeah.
So you just don't have one. It's better.
So this bar is sort of like Switzerland.
It's okay, because everyone is so different. I've never met a person I didn't find something I could like about.
That's what I like about you, Don.
She chose smaller town life 2 years ago.
Dawn used to work for an optometrist in Assiniboia. She left that job and her boss didn't see it coming.
I mean, I've never locked the doors to my home.
Is that right?
I've never taken my keys out of my vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm happy being able to cross the street and not really pay attention. And I think there's a stop sign in town, but I'm not sure.
Dawn, there are several stop signs. I think maybe a trip back to the optometrist's office is in order. Folks, she said she leaves her keys in her car. Somebody take them.
How can you not want that for life? If you can make a living here, then you should.
But there are signs now of something much bigger than retirees and tourists coming to town.
Talking about oil rigs that are being drilled in the area, and
So there's change on the horizon.
yeah, it just started. I got a lump in my throat. We've never had anything like that. Some people think, oh, aren't you gonna be happy? No, it's actually scary. I like the way it is.
That's the fundamental question for small towns that are struggling. It's like, you want more people, you want more money, you want more industry, but do you? I mean, that's in a way, that's what's great about the small town.
Yeah.
And I said, Dawn, well then, what do you see in the future of Willow Bunch? And she pointed over to the sign and said, well, Friday night is rib night. Beyond that, really, is anyone's guess, I suppose. Of course, I'm not really saying it right, am I? You guys don't say Willow Bunch. You say Willowbunch. Willowbunch, right? As in, how much do you love Willowbunch? Willowbunch.
I wanted to get a better picture of the future of this place, and I heard about another newcomer who could paint that picture by number.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to my home.
Gordon Sport is a numerologist. He invited me over for pie. You ain't seen nothing yet.
The Numerological Institute of Canada.
Mm-hmm. It's only me. It's only one person show.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're number one.
Well,
that's a good thing about it.
Gordon told me that he could tell me all kinds of information just from the first vowel of my first name. I said, oh.
that is 10, 16, 7. That is 10, 16, 22.
Every letter in your name signifies a different number.
So that's 1, 6, 5, 1, 2, 8, 1, 5, 4, 1.
It sounded like an auctioneer going.
9, 2, 8, 1, triple 9, 1.
709-250-5335. And I said, sold. And I ended up buying his couch.
You have mastery at your fingertips. Are you living up to your potential?
I can hardly get my laundry done.
As for Willowbunch, he told me the classic story of a farming town's demise by the numbers.
Once upon a time, the farm was maybe 100 to 1,000 acres. So there'd be 20 farmers with 3 kids, 4 kids each. You know, it's 80 people, 100 people. Now that's one farm.
But this area's future may be much bigger.
Well, the oil field, there's more than 1 trillion barrels of oil, bigger than Saudi Arabia. This place is a gold mine. People are going to be coming here.
How will people handle it? Well, Gordon moved here after 48 years in Toronto, and he says the key to change is to do what Legary and Sitting Bull did. Make the most of the space you got.
And, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I built the labyrinth out in the backyard.
And the idea is you meditate on something, you think on something, and as you weave your way over the center of the circle, hopefully you will have some clarity on the matter.
So you're accessing your feminine intuitiveness as well as your male aggressiveness, and it's balancing it out for you in harmony.
Well, that's good for me, because I have both sets of genitals.
Yeah.
Finally, a labyrinth when you need one. Because there was some stuff about Willow Bunch I was still trying to sort out.
I couldn't really attach a singular identity to Willow Bunch. It's a real hodgepodge, right? At first I was thinking, is it a historical Métis community where Sitting Bull sat? Or is it a geological wonder? Is it a home of a famous giant? A refuge for outlaws? And then I realized it's all these things, with a few new bits and bobs as well. You know, everybody here is a little different, and there's a different colorful square on this quirky quilt of a town. And from what I'm told about Saskatchewan winters, you're gonna need a quilt. And a tube, and gloves. Just before I came over to the Jolly Joint for the show tonight, my mom gave me a wrench. She said, oh, you know, how's it going in Saskatchewan? I said, Mom, I stood in the shadow of a joint, walked circles in a circle, played twist around the petroglyphs, and sang some songs with the Fransaskois singers. She said, Jonathan, what are you talking about? I said, Mom, I'm talking about Willowbunch, Saskatchewan. Thanks so much, everybody. You've been great.
We're all working together as a very small community.
You forget how the rest of the town, how much there is here, how many different people.
So now I think people will get an idea of really how interesting the town is.
Yeah, it's nice to get a little positive reaction to the area and a lot of the people here.
Good show. It was funny. Very proud. Very proud, yes.
It was personal, so that was nice. He really learned something, I think, so that's good.